Now, as we try to make sense of the nation's security under President Tinubu's watch, let's also take a peep through the windows of Nigeria's immediate neighbor, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, with the breaking away of Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, and Mali from the regional body. There are increasing fears that the West African region, which had been under siege of the Sahelian threat of violent extremism, may be losing stamina to uphold the crucial needs of regional stability and integration. I'm delighted to have intelligence security and governance expert, Honorable Aliyu Gebi, on Arise Prime Time. Aliyu, glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Join us. Let's start talking still security. Let's start. I was discussing with you off camera.
Yes, sir.
It seems like it's become a norm, because I was telling you that during Jonathan's administration, we had it being said that people who fund Boko Haram or thereabout are within the government, but we never get names mentioned. Now, the senator says some generals are involved in this illegal mining activities. I did ask him, why are names not mentioned? What do you make of this calling, we know them, we can't mention their names?
I'm actually glad you would ask me about what the previous speaker, the distinguished senator, civil society activist, now senator, said. And it's heartbreaking that such a senior level actor player in Nigeria, a senator no less, will come and make such allusions, such incredulous assertions on national TV. If a senator will say this, then there is no hope for Nigeria. What does this do to the morale of our fighting forces who are fighting and dying every single day to uphold the sanctity of the green, white, green? Does he mean to say he does not have access to the president, to the NSA who is up and doing the DGDSS, etc., etc.? Or does he mean to say National Assembly cannot summon this general that spoke to him in confidence to come and testify in front of Parliament and then name the names of those people who are doing the things that he's alleging?
No, but the general who gave him the note did that in confidence. I don't think he can be summoned.
Then if he did in confidence, then there's no need for the senator to come and speak on national TV. He should go and talk to the president or the heads of intelligence and security and defense. But to come out and speak the way that he did, in my opinion, and this is a senator that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who grew organically from the bottom to get to be a governor and now a senator of the republic, to come and speak the way that he did, it is unfair to our security, intelligence, and defense actors, especially those who have paid the supreme price and keep paying the supreme price. It is not fair.
But why do we keep, over time, repeating that? I mean, the senator won't be like I just alluded to former President Jonathan saying we have people who support Boko Haram in the government, but we never got any name mentioned. Why does this go on?
Again, because there are no consequences for actions or inaction. If the president would say there are Boko Haram members in his cabinet, no less, as the president commander-in-chief, and didn't do anything about it, by implication, then perhaps these people who might be known to him or who are alleged to be known are more powerful than the Nigerian state. And because no one is held to account, then people can keep creating this phantasmagorical, whatever the word is, this figment of their imagination. And this happens when people are on the other side. You want to blame the other person for your own woes. But the fact of the matter is, Nigeria has been fighting. Nigeria has been winning. Even in international terrorism financing with NFIU, coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, most of the gains cannot be seen because of their security and intelligence connotation, but the gains are tremendous. The cells that have been dismantled in terms of terrorism financing globally, thanks to Nigeria, cannot be enumerated. But then we tend to forget the greatest source of financing for terrorists, etc., is through crowdfunding. Maitazine survived through crowdfunding. The same way religious organizations come and crowdfund when some people need Rolls Royces or private jets, it's the same way people donate money in small amounts. Imagine if 1 million Nigerians.
If you say that, because from what I've heard you say, you said the nation is winning.
Oh, absolutely. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
But there are still, reports of insecurity. In fact, let me just refer to what Reverend Cooker said, and a security expert. Reverend Cooker says religious extremism, unemployment are breeding grounds for violence, except they are tackled, Nigeria's protracted insecurity cannot be resolved.
Yeah, but I could also now say, unless we tackle weaponized intolerance, unless we tackle weaponized politics, unless we tackle weaponized tribalism, unless we tackle weaponized ethnicity, the problems of Nigeria will never end. So it depends on what side of the glass you are standing. But
no, but we should tackle all the things.
Oh, wait, they are tackleable. But when you talk about insecurity and you claim Nigeria is not winning, that is being unfair to Nigeria. If you look at where we were, to where we are now. And if you look at the level of coordination that the Tinubu-led administration, coordinated by the NSA, Madam Nuhu Ribadu, and the Chief of Defense Staff, etc., if you see what is happening now, it has never happened before in the history of Nigeria. You have to give Nigeria that. You can travel from here to Kaduna now without any fear in your mind. This did not happen months ago. So if we're winning, yes, but can we be doing better? As I always like to say, yes, we can, but we should give ourselves pass marks when we have earned them, especially no less when our men and women are dying on a daily basis to ensure that you and I are here in this nice studio talking, and to ensure that the senator goes to the Senate and moves his motions and argues and debates and gets back into his nice car and drives home.
I will get back to that. I'm sure you know the case of about 70 soldiers.
Oh, tragedy, yes.
Yeah, who, not even the people that died. I mean, 70 who were, you can't use the word rusticate. Actually, they were totally sacked, but Falana fought for them. They had a legal expert. One general was his certificates, everything, he was reinstated. But this 70, they've been fighting up till now. I mean, this is discouraging for us.
Yes, but the fact of the matter is, again, we are trying to be clever by half. I mean, there are those who were legally dismissed, legally, lawfully. Due process was followed, and they know in the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there's no room for cowardice. You cannot run and leave your equipment, for example.
No, but these ones won their case.
Yes, they did, but then you have no idea what the military procedure is. So even if Falana won that case, they were sacked based on competent courts of
Are you saying the military is above the law?
Not necessarily, but the military has its
because
own,
they've been told
the military has its own laws, and this is why they are tried by military tribunals. And if there is a right for appeal that is executed and the military is found wanting, of course they are reinstated.
You know why I said this? Because of encouraging. You just said now that we're winning the war.
Yes.
These are human beings who are fighting for the nation. Morale. What happens to their morale?
Yes, but then I will answer you in a different way. The unfortunate death of a very senior officer, the lieutenant colonel in the theater in Borno, passed away gallantly, fighting so that you and I will enjoy the liberties that his blood would confirm upon us. What happened? Borno State Governor gave his family 30 million naira. Is that not a morale booster? What better morale booster is there than for the family of a late fallen hero to receive 30 million naira from the governor of the state where he fell, apart from what the military is going to give him? So in terms of morale, you have to remove emotion from reality. A soldier is a soldier, is a soldier, is a soldier. And as a warrior, you must live by the warrior code that you signed to uphold. If there are infractions whether perhaps the right thing was not done due to some evidences that were missing or some trajectories of the tribunal, of course you have a right of appeal. And you can appeal, and then after that appeal is done, you submit it to the military high command. They will look at it dispassionately and they will be reinstated if that warrants their reinstatement. But if it does not warrant their reinstatement, there is no power on this earth that can make them reinstated.
Would you say, or why is there no holistic harmonization of intelligence gathering, dissemination and coordination among DSS, NIA, and DMI?
There wasn't, but there is now, and it is getting better. From 1999 till date, we've had only one, to my memory, NSA that had delegation with authority. All the other NSAs never had the authority or assumed they didn't have the authority. We have an NSA now that has the delegation and has the authority. And that authority conferred upon him has directed all other agencies to subordinate under him. And this is where we're beginning to record monumental gains in terms of security. The coordination is better. We're still on the up trajectory. It is not perfect, but we're as near to perfection as we have ever been since the inception of this country. And then you have even the appointment of the service chiefs, for example. You have, for the first time, if ever, or in a very long time, you have the service chiefs, the chiefs coming from the same year So this ensures that they work within themselves very well, they have lived together, they have trained together, and then you have the CDS as one course above them. So in terms of respect, in terms of coordinative power, in terms of recognition of seniority, it has never been this better before in the history of this country. We are coming from a perspective where a former chief of air staff and a former chief of army staff would never sit around the same table. And in the theater, it affected morale, it affected the security planning, operational planning, etc., where the army would need Air Force support, but the Air Force will not come, and you have the Air Force carrying out their own operations. But under this current Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, that seniority, that recognition, that parley, that camaraderie that exists between his course and their course, and of course within their own course, the tri-services, they are one family, and this makes it easier for the commander-in-chief to give directives for them to be executed, more than anything else for the National Security Advisor to coordinate. We never had this before. Then now you have the DGDSS, Tosin, who is a seasoned operative. He operates behind the scenes. He's not for the camera, he's not for the kudos, he's not for the articles. This is a man who dismantled Ansaru almost single-handedly in Bauchi. I know his antecedents. So now you have this man as the DG of DSS, and I must say, the DSS has been consistent in doing the right thing all through. But what we now have is a recalibration of the DSS going back to their core competence, which is domestic intelligence. Yeah. And they are supporting the activities of the other services that operationalize the intelligence, and of course the National Security Advisor coordinating. So we have never had it this good, and you should know me. If it isn't this good, I will not say it is this good. We have never had it this good, and it can be better, and it is getting better, but we should give kudos where kudos is deserved.
All right, some are against reintegration of repentant terrorists back into the society. Are you for or against it?
Yeah, but this is in fact, this is a very intellectually lethargic question, if I might say so. When someone is adjudged to have committed a crime, goes through the judicial process, and they are sentenced, and they go to prison, and they serve their time, when they are released upon the completion of their term, do they not go back to their society? Does the society not accept them? There is a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding in terms of a repentant Boko Haram fighter, a non-repentant Boko Haram fighter, a surrendered Boko Haram fighter, a captured Boko Haram fighter, and a willing defector Boko Haram fighter. But I will say this, no Boko Haram member there is not that will not go through a judicial process, whether transitional justice, restorative justice, or any other type of justice. So the ones that you are seeing being reintegrated into society because of the nature of the threat, the nature of the operations, and so on and so forth, people are not aware that people have been sentenced for a very long time. Some are just coming out into society. And part of the magnanimity of the Nigerian state is after you have gone through the judicial process, after you have served your term, you will still have to go through Operation Safe Corridor for you to be corrected before reinserted back into society.
Okay, so what you're saying is that they still serve terms.
Oh, they do.
Before they are reintegrated.
I will give you this information for free, and I'm not holding brief for anybody. In December alone, 200 Boko Haram suspects were convicted. 2 were sentenced to death. Are Nigerians aware of that? From 2017 to 2021, 22, now 23, up to 24, more than 9,723 have gone through prosecution, have been sentenced, and at least 17 have been sentenced to death. Are Nigerians aware of that? And when you see 100,000 people surrendering, you have to understand in the profiling of these guys also, there's criminal profiling and then there is normal profiling. When you are found and adjudged to have committed any crimes against constitution, humanity, or international law, you don't go into any DDR program directly, and that includes the Borno model. So the 200,000+ people that have surrendered, most of them are civilians captured across the line. But as far as the hardline Boko Haram fighters are concerned, their track is totally different. Nobody will forgive these guys. It's impossible. It will be a travesty of law.
Why the collateral, well, before I ask that, let me ask this. Isn't there a way we can depend less on military while upscaling technology and predictive modeling?
Well, before you talk about technology, you cannot bring technology in a total poverty circumstance. The most sophisticated technology in the world relies on the human being to still put it on. If you have a weaponized drone system, it's still some human being that will use the joystick to pilot the drone. So how about we strengthen the resilience of our people? How about we look at other non-kinetic strategies to ensure that those who are prone to but have not weaponized are taken out? I remember having a chat with General Petraeus, of the former director, CIA, etc. And it was with the Nigerian military in Ghana. And he said, gentlemen, you cannot shoot your way out of this problem. You have to talk your way out of this problem. And the pivot of your talking is good governance. There is no substitution for good governance. Then if you look at what is going on now, again, with the carrot and the stick approach, first, before they come out waving the white flag, now is Turiji not, according to my boss, looking for to come out and surrender? And the military is saying, absolutely not. This is somebody that must be KIA'd. Now, you have to pound them into submission. The only repentant terrorist is the one that has been pounded by kinetic means, providing the platform for non-kinetic means. Non-kinetic strategies, however, is to ensure vulnerable people are cut across the line, come out in some semblance of dignity. Now, the kinetic means win the war, but non-kinetic means win the peace.
You will agree with me that one of the major challenges is how these people get their weapons, and quite sophisticated weapons.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah, but why isn't government able to tackle that?
Yes, but for government to tackle that, we need the buffer countries. We need Niger. We need Chad.
And that's what
right.
that's what
right.
we
need these guys. With these guys, whether they are part of ECOWAS or they have left ECOWAS, they have not left the region. And we are only safer, stronger together. So if weapons are coming in from Libya, where do they touch first? It's Niger. If you look at some of the people they are capturing now, they are not Nigerians with the weapons. The weapons don't come from the sea. The weapons come from the other side of the divide. So for us, it is important Niger works, it is important Chad works, it is important Cameroon works, and it is important Burkina Faso and Mali. So regardless of what the arrangement will be.
So what are then the implications security-wise in the Sahel? You were just alluding to it now, the exiting of these three West African states.
Again, they have exited ECOWAS. They have not exited the region. Bilateral relations still exist, and the AES can actually serve as a very strong functioning multinational joint task force based as the AES. You forget about the Sahel G5, which was disbanded. You have the Accra Initiative, which is also an MNJTF. However, the only MNJTF that had withstood the test of time and is actually functioning is the four-sector MNJTF that we have in the LCB, which we included Benin Republic. So these military arrangements are purely for military strategists. And they are ongoing. Don't forget, still, regardless of ECOWAS or not, these countries send their officers to our defense colleges and our training institutions. They still come. Even the just concluded Nigerian Armed Forces Games, the whole contingent, a delegation came from Mali, from Burkina, and from Niger. So what we have to separate is we have to separate the politics from the day-to-day operations. And the day-to-day operations are working. And this is evidenced in the fact that when the issue started with Niger, the Chief of Defense Staff, in tow with his Chief of Defense Intelligence and a very senior level delegation on the approval of the President through the Foreign Minister and the NSA went. And the delegation were received. And a communique was signed where Niger committed to coming back into the MNJTF and remaining in the MNJTF. Then secondly, there's the Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission, which is older than ECOWAS. It's still functioning. Nigeria leads, Niger deputizes. So there are other things that are more important than all the noise that is being made. And in my opinion, ECOWAS, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will bequeath a stronger, more cohesive, more fit for purpose ECOWAS. At least now we're having the entire community, citizens of the community talking about ECOWAS. This has never happened. People are asking.
But Aliyu, I just heard you say now that when I asked you the question about how these people get their weapons, I mean sophisticated weapons, you mentioned the question of the Sahel region borders, and then you are saying that this is not a risk.
If you are talking about the Sahel region, the Sahel is not a bubble. The Sahel is a belt. And the belt is expanding towards the littoral states. So most of the states in northwestern Nigeria are part of the Sahel. When I say the weapons come through them, everybody talks about Libya. Libya is the most porous, most weaponized state in the Sahel. Then you have Sudan.
Because of what we know.
Right, then you have Sudan and the other flank. You have weapons being supplied by non-state actors and by governments to arm both sides to the extent that they are dropping the extras on the borders of Chad. This is a big problem to Niger. Mali also, you have the Azawad problem. You have Algeria, you have their contestation between Algeria and Mali. You have an entirely weaponized space. Then you have Burkina Faso, caught in the middle, a very young state with a very vibrant head of state. Again, a weaponized situation where you have contestation of global jihadist movements. So the problems are not ours. And if we don't solve the problem far away, it will come to us now. If you look at Liberia and Sierra Leone, Nigeria had to act in our best interest to solve the problem from afar. Because invariably the problem is going to come to us. And all weapons must come to Nigeria because we are the ones that have the purchasing power.
So how do we
have to put our foot down. We must get Niger, we must get Mali, we must get Chad to work. It is in our best interest. So regardless of political inclinations, political brouhaha, we must ensure they work. If you recall, when President Buhari was elected and sworn into office, one of the first things he did was to go to Niger, to Chad, and to Cameroon. Why did he do so? To energize the MNJTF. And it was because he did that and Nigeria funded the MNJTF that international donors were interested in funding only because Nigeria participates. Then you have RIFU, the Regional Intelligence Fusion Unit. Even though there are problems between ECOWAS and Niger, Niger is still part of RIFU. And this is the platform where intelligence is shared. So nobody can afford to be blind. And it's a case of either we are collectively prosperous and secure, or we are individually or collectively insecure and less prosperous.
And I hope the government is working towards that.
The government, I can tell you this for free, is working towards that, and there will be tangible yardsticks that you can measure in the coming days and weeks, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Gebi,
thank you very much.
On Arise Prime Time.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow.